In this episode, you're not a fucking tree. You shouldn't be stiff in any position for any extended period of time, so stop blowing in the wind and start moving. These people, man. I mean, for real? For real? For real? For real?
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 642 of the Daily Mother a Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Swolecast, Nipplecast, Coffeecast, Baconcast, and, dare I say it, Jackedcast in the fucking realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Welcome everyone to episode 622. Papa Swolio is here flexing on you. So thank you to our sponsors, Everest and K2, of course, flexing on you every damn day, getting so fucking yoked from our head to our feet because Papa Swolio is about to go balls fucking deep. We got some serious knowledge fisting today. As you can see on the board behind me, you are not a fucking tree, so stop acting like one. We're going to talk about why you are a tree and why being in one position is bad for you, what you can do about it. These are things you can start doing today, and it's really effective for a Sunday. It's extremely effective to do on a Sunday. Sunday should be a day for relaxation, reflection, and also getting off your fat ass. Sunday should absolutely be a day where you do the opposite of what you classically do on Sunday. It's not a day of rest. It's not a day to go to church and eat fat food and be lazy and sit and listen to people babble about fucking nothing. It's time for you to get shit done. So that's what Sunday should be all about. Sunday should be a day where you should be thankful that no one's having you fucking work if you're lucky enough to not be working on a Sunday. You have a day off, so you have time to get shit done. So first off, you have a chance to do shit, which is really important. And I think you should not underestimate the opportunity to get shit done. So welcome everyone to episode 632. Just checking out, let's see, yesterday's episode, dumbbells versus barbells, went really well. I think everyone participated nicely. It was a good episode, 631. So if you haven't checked out yesterday's episode, you can do so on SoundCloud and iTunes. Check out the podcast. And those of you that are watching live right now on Facebook and Instagram, say what up. So holla for Adala. Hara for Adara. I ain't got no days off. The noob 23 times. The noob. What up, big dog? What's up, Oliver? Wesley Wilder, what Papa Swole, sending Oregon love your way. Is it Oregon or is it Oregon? Oregon. I bet everyone calls it Oregon. I just like saying Oregon. Oregon. I guess I'm a dumbbell. I guess you are, JCP. That's pretty funny. Yeah, if you missed yesterday's episode, yeah, don't be a dumbbell. Don't be a dumbbell. No, actually, yesterday's episode actually was in favor of both. So if you didn't catch it and you have no intention of catching, which I think you should catch it. It was actually just going over the pros and cons of both what's good and I wouldn't say what's bad, but the ups and the less ups about barbells and dumbbells, because they both have a place. They both have a place in your training routine. I don't think anyone should be all barbells. I don't think anyone should be all dumbbells. I think they both have their things to add. And those are two things you can actually kind of trade in more or less fluidly or fluently into your training program. Like 1 week could be dumbbell, 1 week could be barbell, because you can really match similarly the strength training. But if you're only doing one, it's really important you start adding the other one in, because you're missing a lot of muscle activation. You're missing different angles. You're missing different wrist positions. You're missing a lot of stuff that you can't get unless you're doing a barbell or a dumbbell. It's good. It's good. It's good if it's good if you get locked in position sometimes with a bar. Like if you're forced to move a certain way and you're forced to lift a certain way, because a bar can be it's very A to B. It's very black and white. It's very black and white. even more so than a dumbbell. So, I'm a big fan. You can make sick gains with the barbell. You got to go old school with that. The dreaded cardio day, run day Sunday. Why does that exist? Why is Sunday a run day? You must dread Sunday all the time, the dreaded cardio day. Fuck your cardio day, man. You shouldn't have a cardio day. It should be active rest. Do you love to run? Michael Starnes, do you love to run? That's your question. Do you love it? Do you love to run? Do you enjoy it? If you don't go running today. Do some yoga instead, because that's actually the theme of today's episode. We're going to talk about mobility and the importance of mobility, but from a different aspect that we haven't talked about before. We're going to talk about your daily posture. We're going to talk about standing, sitting, and all these habits that people have at work, standing desks, seated desks, and some of the unknown downsides to doing standing all the time. I think those of you that are cashiers or work registers will understand that standing all the time isn't fucking sweet either. Fuck cardio. I'll just lift weights faster. Brian6782 on Instagram. Not unwise. That's a popular quote. I love saying that. I don't do cardio. I lift weights faster. Anything over 8 reps is cardio anyways. Everyone here, is this like, is the group that's joining today, is this just pure bulking season? Is this just perma-bulk? Everyone here is just it's always pedal to the floorboards. It's just get as huge as you can all the time. I feel like everyone here is just on a perma-bulk and just happen to be all in the same podcast at the same time. My beard is so long, I'm just trapping butter in my coffee in my beard all the time. It's actually been really effective, this beard lately. I've been dropping food more regularly for whatever reason. I've been a little sloppy when I eat, and it's literally caught food that's been important to me in my beard, and I have gotten access to it at a later time. So I'll be eating, I'll look down, I'm like, oh shoot, there's a piece of bacon, and it'll be a significant piece, and it's great. It's great. It's great. It's like an assistant. A beard is a mustache is a food assistant. Everyone's thinking, oh, it gets in the way, and I'm getting shit in my beard. It's a food assistant. It helps out. It's there in times of need. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the wild west, the wild beard. It's growing everywhere. Mike Studdle, need to walk sideways through doors. Oliver, I realized I didn't need cardio when I started your style of training. Yeah, I'm not. Those of you that are followers or that have done my 90-day dash program, those of you that are in my Swolenormous X platform, I don't have set days of cardio. There are strategies to build your legs. Like interval sprints are effective. There's a lot of yoga. There's a lot of mobility, which we're going to talk about today. Just not really a fan of straight cardio. I feel like that's great for a warm-up to get your heart rate up. I don't see much point of it past that and past some general heart health benefits. Running is just like, why run 4 or 5 miles? I don't think the human body just needs to do that. I think short sprints are more effective. I'm not saying the body shouldn't be able to run. Long distance running isn't that useful. Human beings, if they need to go a long distance just from an evolution level, you walk. You can walk 20 miles. Human beings are designed to walk. They're also designed to sprint. Walking and sprinting. I don't see much of a need or much of a purpose for human beings to do that much lower intensity, longer distance running. If you're hunting buffalo, you're not jogging. You're sprinting and you're waiting, and you're sprinting and you're waiting. Explosive energy. So I'm a big fan of that style. I think that's much more effective. And interval sprints are the original. That's the real interval training. All the other HIIT and this fad HIIT training with like burpees and stuff, that's really not necessary either. But the interval sprints are perfect for the high intensity and the quick recovery and building legs and shredding. That's plenty. You don't have to go fucking doing 1,000 push-ups and air squats and shit like that. So I've been completely lean. It's nutrition. It's lifting weights. It's maybe some interval sprinting if you're trying for certain, but doing straight cardio and HIIT training, it's not necessary to get lean. And we underestimate drastically the importance of nutrition and drastically how much nutrition can actually do for us in terms of body composition with weight training and yoga, mobility. Um, Very underestimated. And there's always something that gets added. There's always something that gets added to the plate. There's always something, just like nutrition, which we'll talk more about this week. There's always something added. There's always something told to us that we need next. First fat was bad and fat's not bad. Then, all these extremes that get adopted into the mainstream, into the main consciousness just by media. It's just by media, by pharmaceutical companies, by marketing that just puts all these flaws and these flawed ideas into our brains before they're even proven facts. And that's why, for example, that we've talked about. We'll talk more about this week coming up. I'll discuss a couple good we'll talk about some reading material you guys want to get more involved in, and we'll break out some different parts of these books and things like that. We'll discuss them and we'll put them out in the open. We'll have some more open discussion about nutrition because it's the stuff that we've been talking about. And it's important to understand where these mantras and where these themes and where these ideas come from. And they come from humans. They come from humans. They come from fallible fucking humans that wear lab coats, that call themselves doctors, that work in the government, that just have more control to disseminate information to an unknowing public. And when you have the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, when information was extremely tightly controlled, how'd you get information? You got it from school, from your teacher, from your doctor, from Encyclopedia Britannica, when they were pushed out once a year in a book that doesn't change. So it was all before internet. Pre-internet, it's easy to fucking pass around information. World War II, fucking easy for propaganda. It's propaganda. It's nutritional propaganda that we got suckered into. But now with the internet, you can't have the same type of propaganda. You can't shove the same shit down everyone's throat. You can get bad information around a lot quicker, but you can't trick a lot of people in the same way because you have access to more information. So let's talk about mobility. Let's talk about you not being a fucking tree. Let's talk about some of the, I wouldn't say the benefits, but let's talk about some of the differences between standing, sitting, being mobile, being immobile, what you can do about it, and what some of the pros and cons, some of the things you should be concerned about with your mobility and with your lack of mobility. So your question right now, those of you that are watching live on Facebook and Instagram, is to put down below, what do you do more often during the day? How many hours a day? And be honest, literal. I don't care if it's 20. I don't care if it's 5. How many hours a day literally do you spend sitting down? And approximate literally how many hours a day you spend standing up. So think about that. So sitting down would count as time spent in the car. Sitting down would count as time spent in a chair at your office or at work. Sitting on the couch at home, sitting, eating dinner. Anytime you're sedentary, anytime your hips are flexed, your knees are flexed, sitting in a car, sitting on a train, on a bus, how many hours a day you spend sitting down in a seated position? And then I also want you to do the same thing for standing up. How many days or how many hours a day do you spend standing up? That would be, you could, if you take a half an hour shower, it's a half is standing up. If it's vertical, it's standing up. If you're walking around, if you walk for work, you stand up for work, that's how long, just add it up, approximate, within give or take an hour or so. Okay. How many times you sit a day? Now lying down and sleeping doesn't count as sitting. Don't count sleep. Don't worry about your sleep right now. Got some of the answers coming through. Let's just put a couple of them out there. Gary Bowl on Instagram, 4 hours standing, 20 hours sitting. Do you sleep sitting, bro? Damn. 3 hours of training, light activity, 6 hours, and probably 9 hours sitting. The Noob 23, I stand for almost all day, but I do a lot of squatting up and down all day, so I don't know if that helps at all. No, it doesn't answer the question. Give me an approximate number. If you're not sitting, then you're not sitting. That's fine. 16 hours sitting, 4 hours standing, sleep doesn't happen, LOL, fit bombshell. That's not good. You got to sleep too. Damn. Okay, so you get the point. So keep on answering those questions. And even if you're not watching this live, jump in here and drop an answer to that question down. So we're doing a little bit of a survey. doing a little bit of a survey, and I didn't post this poll earlier like I wanted to, but I'll post this poll again on Facebook, and I'll also post it on Instagram after the show, so you could all participate in that poll as well, and we'll get some more people that didn't watch the show and maybe encourage some other people to tune in. So sitting and standing are pretty much what humans do, right? Either you're sitting or you're standing. If you're not standing, you're sitting, and vice versa. There's nothing wrong with sitting. It's a human function. You're able to sit down. We sit down on rocks. We can do a deep squat. I've talked about the deep squat before. We talked about that the other day. We're discussing the exercises that should be done in your training. But sitting down chronically has been shown to be bad for the body. Now, why would sitting be bad? Why is it actually bad? Why is it actually detrimental? Why does sitting increase heart risks? Is it because your hips are flexed and it puts pressure on your arteries and stuff? No, let's talk about why sitting is not a good thing. It's because of the inactivity. So first off, you're not moving. If you have a more sedentary lifestyle, you are essentially less active. And it's just a correlation. That doesn't mean that if you sit, you can't exercise. Doesn't mean if you sit, you can't be in shape. Doesn't mean if you sit, you can't do yoga. Doesn't mean if you sit, you can't do corrective exercises. You can't do foam rolling. Doesn't mean you can't be into fitness and sit a lot for your job. I understand some of you, your job and what you do for a living requires you to sit. Whatever the situation is, you're required to sit. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't change it to more of a standing position. It's just the way it is. You have to sit. So I get that. Doesn't mean you can't be in shape. It just means that you have a more sedentary lifestyle. Your body is biased and leveraged more towards immobility. And most people that are immobile and that aren't moving a lot during the day are generally less healthy. They're generally less healthy. They're more sluggish. They're more at risk for diseases because they generally eat less quality foods. They don't exercise. Most people that are sedentary all the time don't go exercising all the time. Does that make sense? People that are more active tend to stay and tend to be more active. People that generally take more interest in their health aren't sitting down all the time for their work. It's just a general correlation. Most people that are sedentary all the time do not take the best care of their health. So it goes beyond just sitting down. And that's what you have to be aware of when you look at studies or you check out research or you read articles that are based on studies. A lot of these things are epidemiological studies where they're just observations. They're based on questionnaires, on surveys. And important things to understand about those types of surveys and those types of research papers is because it's so hard to control a large population. Like it's so expensive, fam, to do one of these scientific tests, even if it's basic, because if you have a worthy population size, like there's 350, 400 million people in the United States. I don't know the latest number. I think I'm trying to go high just because it's going to get there eventually, but let's just say 400 million, tons of people in this country. And to get a proper sample size, you can't do a test on 100 people. For us, it's like, wow, 100 people, that's a good test. It's not. A sample size is going to cover a certain region or a certain type of people or a large, broad scale. If you're going to test something, like if you're going to do a test that is going to have some kind of impact on the entire country, you're going to start telling everyone, you should be doing this, you should be moving more because of this, you should be eating this because of X, Y, and Z. You need to test 500,000, 1 million, 2 million. Like you got to test a lot of people. Even when you think about if you're doing a test or a survey or a study, or if you could even manage it, a clinical trial on 2 million people, it's still 400 million. It's still like 398 million people short. So think about all these studies and all these things we put so much stock into. It's really a small population sample. So what you're testing is important and what you're observing is important. And most people that are sedentary are inactive. So you have other factors. You have poor eating habits. You have poor exercise habits. So sitting is usually associated with a higher risk of heart disease because of all the other factors. You're sitting, you're often smoking, you're not exercising, you're not eating right. There's other things you're not doing. So it's hard just to say, oh, if you sit down a lot, you're done. No, if you're eating extremely well and if you're exercising daily and you're stretching, you can counterbalance a lot of the things from sitting. It's still not good, but you can make things better. So what have we done? Most of us are pretty aware that it's not good to sit all the time. I don't want to get too much into why it's not good to be sitting all the time because I've done so many episodes on that, and we'll come back to it. But this is more conceptual. I want to talk about the general concepts, but on a bigger scale, like why this is really something that's fundamental, why mobility and why it's so, because that's an underlying theme in all my content in Swolenormous X. That's why we do, because tonight's another release. Those of you that are Swolenormous X members, another brand new yoga class is coming tonight. That's why I'm pushing yoga so much. That's why there's so much mobility work in Swolenormous X, is because of what we're talking about today. So it's very programming, theme-based, and discussion-based. It's not so much philosophy. It's a lot of fact there. The proof is in the pudding. The proof's in the pudding. Like, if you're sitting down a lot, you're at more risk for injuries too, because you're imbalancing your hips. You're tightening up your calves, not to mention the footwear. We'll talk about footwear when we talk about standing, but tightening the calves, tightening the muscles around the knee, hamstrings get very tight, start pulling on the lower back, glutes get very weak. The ischemic pressure, the pressure from sitting down on the hip bones, on the pelvis, that kind of constant pressure shuts down neurally the activation to the glutes, which makes the hips less stable, which puts the lower back at more risk. Plus the sitting on L4, L5, S1, that kind of extreme flexion and pressure all the time with poor sitting posture leads to all these things that cause issues from sitting down. Back pain, knee injuries, neck pain, hunched over, not having the computer lined up with your head, slouching while you're sitting, bending your neck, looking down. There's a lot of other side effects from having bad basic posture, from sitting in a bad position. So what else do we got here? Let's see. 10 hours standing, 6 sitting. Karen Giebel, Michael Bastian, 10 to 12 hours sitting, 4 to 6 hours standing, 8 to 9 hours sleeping. Depends. It does depend. Sleep is a fickle mistress. Sleep is a fickle mistress. Sure is. Mike Honcho, 11 standing, 4 hours sitting, and Vince Mojak, 12 to 14 hours of work can be either, so I can't put a number on it. All right. I sleep. Why are we talking about sleeping? Stop talking about sleep. We don't care about sleep right now. Sitting down, standing versus sitting. I don't care about how many hours you sleep right now. It matters, but we don't care for today's. So don't worry about it. You don't have to share that part. So what's been popular now are standing desk and standing. And I've done that with my desk. I've made it ability. A lot of times I'll sit on this exercise ball because I roll around, I roll back, and I stretch. I still get up. I move around a little bit. It's better for my hips. It's better alignment for my back. It's more mobile. I do more mobility work. I have my yoga mat laid out. I just get down there and I do some stretching regularly. So I'm doing a lot of mobility work throughout the day from this sitting position, but standing's even more popular. And I do standing as well too. And some of you, I don't know if any of you can comment below if you do standing or you have standing desks at work or you do a lot of standing. So some of you are doing, I don't know if you're work retail, if you work at a cashier, if you work at a store where you're standing a lot of the time. One of the upsides, and let's talk about some of the upsides first. The benefits of standing are obviously you're vertical. You're not putting your hips in constant flexion. You are not putting constant pressure on your lower lumbar and your sacral spine. You are not, I would say, imbalancing your hips. So the entire kinetic chain is not Jenga-fied. You're not all imbalanced and trying to recorrect the improper tension. So you're not slouching forward. Your neck is in better alignment. We'll assume if you're standing more often, let's assume if you're standing is better than sitting, you're more mobile, you're moving around. You might be burning more calories because you're standing up, because you're walking. You're just in motion more. However, the importance of standing is sometimes overshadowed by the lack of movement and mobility. If you're in one position and you're standing, but you're in one position all day, that's still not good. You're still immobile. You're still stiff. And I have it on the board behind me. You're not a fucking tree. You're not a fucking tree. You're not in one place all the time. You're not rooted. You're not rooted down. You have legs. You're able to move. So standing has to be done properly too. If you're standing, you have to have good posture while you're standing. You have to have your whatever you're looking at is on eye level. You can't be standing up and have you looking down at a desk and you're cricking your neck and you're texting all the time and your neck is all bent and out of fucking position. You're standing and you're wearing high heels. If you're wearing high heels, your ankles are out of alignment and then it puts pressure on your hips and your lower back. So you can stand, yeah, Steiner massage. Yeah, you could stand like shit too. So static and dynamic posture is totally different. So just because you're vertical, just because you're walking around, let's say you work at Home Depot or you work at a department store, just because you're walking doesn't mean, oh, I get exercise. Yeah, but I'm walking all day. I'm all day on my feet. Those messages that you send me, the messages that you send me that tell me how active you are, it doesn't matter. You want to lose weight, but then, oh, but I'm on my feet all day. I'm walking. I'm running around all day. No, so what? Your body's adapted to that. It doesn't fucking make any difference. It makes no difference. Like your body doesn't care about that when it comes to exercise and it comes to fat mobilization. That doesn't matter. Your body adapts to like your daily activities fucking like nothing. If you're standing all day, you're on your feet and you're walking around, or let's say you do yard work all day, you won't lose weight because of that. Your body is very adept at burning minimal calories for that. Your body will adapt. It ain't gonna do shit. I mean, you're more active than someone else, but doesn't put you at any less risk for an injury. Potentially, but you could do repetitive movements over and over again, bending over, and hurt yourself from imbalances. So don't assume that just because you're moving around or you're chasing your 3-year-old around, so what? That doesn't make you more active than anyone else. You're a mother. Get over it. Everyone's a fucking mother. Everyone's got a baby. You have a job, dudes. It's like everyone's got a fucking job. Everyone's doing something over and over again. So just because you have kids doesn't make you more active than someone who doesn't have kids because you're running around taking care of them. No, you're doing the same shit all the time. Your body will adapt. The point is your body will adapt to the same shit you're doing all the time. There's a reason why you call it, right? There's a reason why we call it the dad bod, because you don't get the right exercise. You don't do the right shit. That's like a common phrase for guys, a dad bod, because you're not exercising. You're eating crap because you're probably feeding your kids crap and you're eating the leftovers on their plate because you don't want to waste the crap that you're feeding your kids. And everyone gets fat. It's the dad bod, the woman bod, the parent bod. You have kids and things go to shit. Whereas, in my opinion, if you have children, everything should get healthier. If you have children, you should be in better shape because you're feeding your family quality fucking foods. And we'll talk more about that. But you were scammed. Humans, Americans, you were scammed into thinking that fat was bad for you. You were fucking poisoned for 50 years that fat was the devil and that you should be avoiding cholesterol and all these fucking lies just to fill someone's pockets. So you have the entire government against you trying to shove fucking vegetable oil and sugar down your throat. That's why you're sick. Okay? But the right decisions are there. We'll talk more about this week. Yeah, I'll give you guys some resources. You could check it out. It's really embarrassing. It's really frustrating. And it's infuriating, actually, what has happened. And it's still not out of the mainstream. People are still really hesitant. Oh my God, you wonder why you're not losing fat, but you're eating all grains and cereals and breads and low fat everything. And that's why you're not losing weight. Your hormones are fucked up. Your body's fucked up. You're not eating the right shit for a human. We're not supposed to live off plants. We're not supposed to live off vegetable oil. We've tried that. We have diabetes and heart disease like crazy. Oh yeah, and fucking cancer is ridiculous. So you can keep your vegetable oils and your plants. Yeah, low fat is not the way to go. So you have that stomach, you have that dad bod, the mom bod, the parent bod because of the adaptation to your daily activities, your activities of daily living. Your body has adapted to that. So because your body has adapted, you need to add exercise. So standing all day can be bad if you're not aligned, if you don't have proper posture, proper activation and proper core activation and corrective exercises. You're not activating the middle and lower trapezius. You're not doing all the fucking shit that I talk about every goddamn day. You're still not doing it. If you're listening and you're a regular listener and you're not doing this shit already, you should be slapped upside the testicle. or the puss lips, whatever gender you hail to. It's time. It is time. It is time to make mobility really important again. And wearing heels, wearing sneakers, wearing dress shoes, wearing elevated heels does so much more damage than you give it credit for, whether you're standing or whether you're sitting. And when you're sitting, it compounds that imbalance because you're elevating the heel, you're shortening the calves up, you're shortening the gastrocnemius, you're putting pressure behind the knee joint. Your knees are in flexion, so you're shortening up the hamstrings as well. And you are causing this pressure on the lumbar spine that's forcing the back to extend more. So you're getting that excessive lower back arch. You're getting that excessive anterior pelvic tilt. You're getting that sway back. You're getting that huge curvature in the lower spine. We see that in Gymshark girls. We see that in all these girls are trying to break their fucking sacral joint to get an Instagram picture. We see that in women that wear extremely high heels. Then you have the women that wear high heels that are way too high for them. I don't know why women try to challenge themselves with high heels that they can't walk well in. I think that's the stupidest fucking shit I've ever seen, personally, when a woman wears heels that are too tall for her. And when I'm talking about too tall, I mean not that it looks like hookerish, but the woman can't walk well in them. Like she's not talented enough to utilize those heels. And it's stupid. It's stupid. They look like baby fucking giraffes. It looks dumb. And their knees are all fucking bending in. Their feet are flat as hell. They're arching their back. They're usually overweight. It's just unattractive and it's sad because people are trying to achieve this look physically and they're absolutely just fucking themselves up. And women do this, and women have it tough. Women have it tough. It's all the makeup, it's the clothes and the heels, but guys do it too. So I think women are getting too much attention when it comes to wearing high heels because guys wear high heels too. You're wearing elevated heels. If you're wearing elevated heels, it's high heels. I know you're calling these specific shoes high heels, but I call high heels any shoes that have a higher heel. So that's a high heel to me. You should be flat. It should be flat. You shouldn't be wearing heels. There's no need for that. You ain't King Louis the 14th, yo. You shouldn't be wearing heels. You ain't no sun god, sun king. So get your shit organized. So any kind of elevated heel changes the position around the ankle, but it's the same. So it's the same kind of concept. If you're standing, but you're wearing improper heels, you still got that Jenga rebalancing going on. And if you're sitting down, your hips are in flexion, so you got a lot of, imbalancing going on. So how do we fix this? How do we fix this repetitive? However, when you're standing, you're more likely to move around. When you're standing all the time, you're more likely to move. You're more likely to walk around. You can squat down. You're just more likely to be in motion because you're standing. It's easier to walk over here and come back this way if you don't have to push the chair back, get up, be all stiff. It's easier to get up and walk around when you don't have that first getting up part. You're already up. That's why I like this rolling ball because I just kind of kick it back and it moves around a lot. Dab the old stash from the coffee. So how do we address this issue? What's the best way to go about it? It's mobility. It's yoga and it's flexibility. And one of the major things that you lose and that we lose as human beings over time and as we get older is the mobility, is our musculoskeletal range of motion, our flexibility, the elasticity of our tissues, our ligaments, our tendons. This is something that needs to start today. It needs to start today. It needs to be something that we build upon year after year for our entire lives. It's so important. It's so important to focus on mobility as part of your training. It's so extremely important to focus on mobility as the backbone of your training, as your active recovery, as your yin to your yang, your balance, because if you practice proper mobility and you do your yoga and you do your foam rolling, you do your active recovery, you're not taking days off, you're working actively to repair the damage that you're doing on a daily basis, you are going to have more longevity. You're going to recover from workouts faster. You're going to prevent yourself from injuries. You're going to recover from injuries if you should have them faster. you are going to be healthier and more mobile. Mobility will lead to mobility. You'll be more mobile if you work on mobility. It's pretty much the definition of the word. And the simplest thing I can say is yoga. I'm not going to get into all the different subcategories of mobility and stretching and all the little things, but there's foam rolling. There's going for a walk. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But start looking into the other episodes I have on barefoot training, on being barefoot, on postural imbalances. Remember, you can search all my episodes on YouTube as well. I'll take some questions in a couple moments. We'll discuss a little bit what's going on in the comments here, if it's on topic. And I've talked a lot about sedentary posture, mobility, foam rolling, active recovery, taking no days off. When you are having mobility as a staple in your programming, you don't need days off because that is your day off. That's your active recovery. And I've used the correlation between putting as much effort into your recovery and your rest and your repair as you have and as you do your breakdown and your lifting and your resistance. It's extremely important to take the how do I want to say this? The proactive approach in both respects. You're being proactive with your recovery, and you're also being proactive with your training and your strength training. You should not take any less seriousness for your recovery than you would your resistance training. You know it's important. You can go to the gym and crush it. You're going to go smash a workout, right? You're going to go today and lift heavy and clang and bang and slam some steel, but then you're going to go home and just sit on the couch and watch Netflix and think you're just going to magically, boom, poof, puff the magic dragon and you'll be fucking done. Like, bam, smoke, and all of a sudden you step out and you're a new man. It doesn't happen like that. You'll get stiff. You'll get immobile. You'll get locked up. Your muscles never get a chance to release that tension, and it just builds up until something pops. Or you have chronic pain, or you have an imbalance that's just nagging, and then you have tendonitis. Those things happen. I'm sure I'll see in the comments injuries. Like, what are some things how many of you have back pain? Or how many of you have had chronic back pain? How many of you watching? Drop in the comments. How many of you have had a chronic back injury or something that would go and come back? Chronic back pain, an acute back injury, you threw your back out, your back just hurts. Shoulder pain, just chronic. I'm not talking about like you walked into a wall and you hurt your shoulder. I'm talking about like your shoulder just hurts. Like it just fucking hurts. Your back just fucking hurts. Your knee it just hurts. You don't have a reason for it that you can put your finger on. It just hurts. Something you have just, ouch. It just hurts. That's usually mobility related because it's chronic. If you have chronic pain usually does not come from an acute injury, meaning you don't bang your shoulder and then all of a sudden you have pain constantly for years. It's usually an accumulation of improper posture, an accumulation of improper or repetitive movement patterns over and over and over again for months and months and years and decades and decades. So it's usually these over and over experiences that relates to these over and over experiences of pain. And your body telling you that you have pain, your body letting you know on a regular basis that, ouch, this hurts, ouch, this hurts, ouch, this still hurts. It's letting you know there's a situation that needs to be addressed. So pain is your body's way of tapping you on the shoulder and getting your attention. You can't ignore your body. You can't ignore what your body is telling you. You can't ignore those signals because the pain is literally a signal. Your body is sending you a text message, and we just ignore the fact that our body is telling us something. If your body says pain, there's a reason for it. If your body says pain, then something's fucked up. Something is ouch. Something's ouchy. You have kids? Something ouchies. Smeagol.
It hurts us, precious.
It hurts you, precious. It hurts you for a reason. So that's your body telling you that this hurts, this sucks, this is in pain, fix this shit. So start adding in mobility training now. If you don't have the option to, if you don't know where to start, if you're in the middle of fucking nowhere, you don't know what yoga to do, you don't know what yoga is, you've never done mobility. I understand, ladies and gentlemen, that yoga is intimidating for a lot of people. It's not super popular yet. It's going to be. It's going to be more and more popular. It's going to be more and more mainstream. It should be. It should be a staple. But I understand if you have never had experience with it. And that's why I include it weekly. That's why it's in the 90-day dash program that I have. That's why there are weekly additional classes that I add every single week to Swolenormous X. So if you are interested in getting the best instruction, if you're interested in having yoga on your TV, on your computer, on your phone, wherever you are, and you can get started today, I can help you with that. I can help you with that. You can go on fucking YouTube. You can go on YouTube and just look stuff up, random stuff. You might not get progressive. You might not get something that's the level that you like. You might not get a full class. I'm just saying that that's why I take it so seriously, is because I literally practice what I preach. I do yoga personally. I integrate that completely into all of my content, especially my Swolenormous X platform. It's integral in my programming. And it's like that for a reason. It's not there just because it's something to do. It's not there because it's something different. It's there because it fucking works. And everyone that's in the comments right now on Facebook, John Rackham, yoga is amazing for stiffness. Yoga is an integral part of workouts. 90-day dash with yoga versus without yoga. The difference is night and day. Do your yoga, son. Yeah, no shit. Yoga is excellent. And it's one of those things that you don't notice how important it is. You do, but you don't really until you do it regularly and then you stop. Let's say you fall out of it, like you just are unable to practice for, I don't know, let's say a week or two. You're gonna feel stiff as a board. It's more so than cardio. I know a lot of you that are cardio and running junkies. When you don't run for a week or two, you feel out of breath and your body you'll lose cardio capacity quicker than you'll lose strength, but you'll also lose mobility faster than all those. You'll get stiff in a day. You'll be on a plane and you'll be stiff and you'll feel it. It's like sitting in a long car ride. Have you sat in the car for 3, 4 hours, 5 hours? You get out and you're like, oh my God. That's what happens to your body on a regular basis. We feel so extreme because we're locked literally in position for a few hours against our will for most part. And all of a sudden we get out, we feel that stiff. Your body feels that stiff. Equate that to all the time for your entire life. If you don't practice yoga, your body has always felt like that. You're getting out of a car and you're, oh my God, I'm so stiff. Your body always feels like that. That's what every joint is going through all the time because you don't take care of it and you don't practice mobility. And that starts making shit a lot more real. That starts making shit a lot more real when you think about it to that extreme because it's legit. It's true. Let's take a couple questions. Let's see if anything's been popping up here. What do you think about the vegan lifestyle? Oh, we're getting back to that. We'll do some more nutrition stuff this week. It's not necessary. The vegan is very low, oftentimes in healthy fats and saturated fats. So you're missing a lot of quality nutrients and it can be very challenging to get all the nutrients required. And veganism really stemmed from the huge anti-fat movement in the United States and really came out of that kind of brainchild way of eliminating fat and getting rid of animal fats and animal proteins and demonizing the meat and the egg and the dairy industry. And no one's perfect. I mean, big industry is big industry, but then pushing plant-based and grains and corn and soy. So there's a lot of other things at work. And the government loves fucking veganism. The government loves feeding you soy. They love feeding you grains and vegetables. And one of the problems with veganism is people assuming that, oh, I'm going to be healthier. I got to lose some weight. I'm going to go vegan. You're fucking pounding carbohydrates. You're pounding carbs. So, and carbs are you should not be eating high carbohydrate diet. That's not the way a human being should survive. That's not the way a human being should function. And case in point, the United States, we were on a high carbohydrate diet. You might say, oh, refined carbohydrates. It's still grains. It's still not that much different. Refined shit is never good, but you're still missing a ton of nutrients just by going raw, and the amount and the volume you have to consume is very challenging. If you're a huge supporter of it, or you want to save the animals and save the whales and shit, I mean, that's fine. Your own personal beliefs are fine. Just people get very butthurt about any negativity towards anything. And it's not really negative, it's just a fact. You're missing a ton of nutrients that are found commonly in healthy, grass-fed animal products and things of that sort. So it's well known. It's well known. It's very challenging, and it's not a natural way of eating. I think the one of the biggest offshoots and misconceptions is that, back in the day in ancient times, humans, we ate like grass and grain and grains and leaves and all that stuff. Like we didn't come from eating plant sources. We're not vegans. Being a vegetarian doesn't go back to the roots of being a human. It's the opposite. We fucking meat, butter, eggs. Chicken's a low quality protein. Chicken's a low quality protein. That came about when everyone started demonizing red meat. That really exploded, and heart disease and issues and cancers went up crazy because of the increase in poultry, not meat. Meat consumption's gone up, but beef consumption has gone down, and poultry's gone up. The chicken industry, but eggs are what's important from chickens, not the chicken meat. Chicken meat's nasty. That's why it tastes plain. Like plain white chicken breast tastes like shit. Tastes like absolute shit for a reason. Your taste buds don't fucking lie. When you're eating natural foods, your taste buds don't lie. Chicken breast tastes like shit because it's fucking nothing valuable in it. It's plain, boring shit. You need some fatty steak, some grass-fed like a fucking ribeye. Then you're like, you salivate for a reason because you're a human. We'll talk more about this stuff. I mean, it's amazing when you start looking at the actual studies that people use to promote cutting out fat. Animal fats are good, the right animal fats. Still want to get quality foods, though. I'm still not saying you should be eating bacteria and like antibiotic infested aminals. Off topic, Mike Honcho, can we talk sodium soon? Sure. What about turkey? Same as chicken? Turkey's really not that. I mean, lean meats are not really great for the body. Lean, your body runs on fat. Your body is designed for fat. It's designed for fat consumption. It's how you absorb nutrients and vitamins and minerals. Your body should be consuming fat. I've never been a personal fan of lean meats. I've never personally been a fan of lean meats. That's not what's natural. It's natural to eat organ meats, to eat high fatty, saturated fats are not bad. Case in point, right? You're going to talk about animal fat and saturated fats being bad and like quality saturated fats being bad. But coconut oil is one of the most heralded sources of healthy fats. And it's pretty much all saturated fat. It's longer chains of triglycerides, the MCT oil. I mean, all those things are saturated fat. And it's just one source that's not meat related, but saturated fats are not bad for the body. It's amazing what we think we know and what we claim to know and what we hold as like doctrine just because we were told it over and over again. Humans are very easily programmed, and we underestimate that. And the more you read about this and how all these things came to be, you see all the loopholes, and it's fucking embarrassing. I mean, I wasn't alive when this shit kicked off. I wasn't old enough in the 80s and 90s. But there are a lot of blindness, a lot of distraction, a lot of just straight up fucking lies and embellishment that changed how our entire country consumes food and nutrients. And it's sad. It's embarrassing. And it's literally has not worked. It's been the opposite. It's fucked everyone up a lot worse. And it's ever since people have been cutting out fat and cutting out animal fat and saturated fat. That wasn't the enemy. When you start talking about antibiotics and feeding cows, animals, grains, that's just to create more of them because the population is exploding. But meat in itself is not a bad thing. There's no research that supports that. There's none. So before you just jump on a bandwagon and say, "Oh, it was bad," and you quote some fucking random study that doesn't give all the detail or that the study techniques and methods weren't optimal, just be careful what you're doing, and be careful what you're aware of where human beings came from and how human beings are designed to function. And you're going to have people that say, oh, well, our stuff, we're similar to this and they're vegetarians. And human beings aren't vegetarians. We're omnivores. We can do both. And like I said, you don't look at a garden and be like, wow, salivating over that lettuce. No, but you do over a piece of meat. So just the basic obvious things that make humans full, that give us satisfaction, that help us balance our hormones, that help us have more strength, that help us do all these things. Doesn't mean there's not another option, but if you're cutting out all these major things, you're hacking the system. You're trying to hack the system in order to do the same thing as simple meat and full fat dairy and stuff like that does. So just important concepts. I have felt so good since adding more fats in my diet. Hell yeah, Oliver. Well, good questions, fam. We'll do more nutrition stuff this week. This week is going to be more focused on nutrition as well. Going to get into some more topics. So make sure you bring the questions, bring the eyeballs, bring the ear holes, and remember you can catch all the episodes on SoundCloud and iTunes. Thank you for everyone that has stuck around for the conversation today and for episode 642 of the Daily Sleaze. So drop a couple comments below, and if you have, I like it when you all drop topics like the sodium. That'll be one coming up. We'll talk more about vegetarianism, plant-based dieting. We'll talk more about some of these studies that some of this stuff is based on. You're more than welcome to send me research. You're more than welcome to send me things. But the fact remains that up into the 19th century, before the 1900s, Americans, our diet was high in saturated fat, high in milk fats, high in eggs and butter and meat, high in all those things. And our incidence of heart disease is non-existent. And when you start cutting some of these things down, it might seemingly reduce heart disease, but it has not reduced mortality, cancer, other issues, allergies, and a slew of other problems. But guess what? It's okay if we have issues, because we have the pharmaceutical companies to give us over-the-counter medications and also cholesterol-lowering drugs and things for our heart disease that can make us feel better in no time. So even if our diet is bad and so bad and we're struggling to cut out all the fat in our diet, we still have big pharma to support us with all their wonderful advancements to keep us Americans healthy. That's what the government does. Encourages us to eat garbage foods that don't help us and then give us drugs to make us feel better. And then we still get sick anyway and we fucking die. So everyone's getting rich off your back. Don't fall victim to the scams. And that's just that little tidbit in closing with nutrition, because that's true. Look it up. Everything's fucking marketing. We're just more aware of things now. And human beings don't like to be proven wrong. We don't like to look back and be like, oh shit, we've been getting fucking duped for 100 years. Kind of true. All these instances of all these issues have come since the influx of vegetable oil and soy and corn and the drop in red meat, the increase in poultry, the lowering of fat, the increase in vegetable and plant-based stuff. A lot of stuff has come from this swing. So, we can all agree that refined foods are bad. Grain-fed meats and stuff are bad. Low quality is low quality any way you slice it. But it still does not replace the fact that human beings are designed to eat diets high in saturated fat. It's what we crave. It's what we thrive on. It's just how we've evolved. It's how our brain has grown to the size that it has, how our height has developed year, decade, and century, and millennia after millennia. It's how we have developed as a species. So that's where we are right now. And a lot of changes in a short period of time, in 100 years, will throw off a lot of health. And it has. It's proven that. We've proven that these drastic changes are bad for us, because the proof is in all the medication, all the heart disease, all the cancer. It's rampant. Our mortality is not getting better. We're just struggling with medication and stuff because our basic fucking nutrition is screwed up. All right. So that's that. Thank you for dropping the comment. Thanks for asking questions. Thanks for participating. Thanks for being here for episode 632 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Remember, everyone, yoga, mobility, super importante, and brand new yoga class dropping tonight in Swolenormous X. So if you're interested in joining the family, it's on special offer right now. So while you can, don't wait to jump on Swolenormous X at swolenormousx.com, swolenormousx.com. The link is in my Instagram bio as well as the post description here on Facebook. So you can DM me, message me if you have any questions, but brand new yoga class dropping tonight. Do not miss it. It's going to be a block yoga flow. So this is going to be excellent for getting into the deep fascial tissue and getting some more mobility where you might not be able to otherwise. So if you have a yoga block or if you don't, go get one. It's going to be an awesome class, and I hope you enjoy this little twist on some prop yoga. So it's going to be fucking awesome. So those of you that are in Swolenormous X, you're in for a real treat. And again, link is in my Instagram profile and the post description here on Facebook, swolenormousx.com, for that yoga class tonight and every week. New virtual training and another workshop coming this week. So we're off the tits. We're off the chain in Swolenormous X. So those of you that are already members of the family, you got a lot to look forward to tonight and this coming week. Everyone else, peace, my geese, deuce, my goose, Papa Swolio, out.